Story 1. All weekend errands are completed before noon to avoid the crowds. If I cannot arrive before that time, I will wait. Story 2. An older lady recommended flipping the garbage bags inside out so the seam is on the inside, preventing the bags from ripping open as often. I still use this method for my garbage years later. Story 3. Not everything needs to be rushed. I will get there when I get there. Also, be yourself and do not worry so much about what others think. Story 4. Afternoon naps aren't strictly an old person thing, as siestas exist. Seriously, getting home, hopping in a quick shower to wash off the grime of the day, and laying down for a half-hour to an hour nap leaves me energized and refreshed for my afternoon and evening activities. I found that it means I need less sleep at night to feel refreshed, by at least 1 to 2 hours, making it a net positive on my overall sleep ratio. I also tend to wake up pretty early these days, usually around 4 to 5 a.m. I leave home around 7 a.m. and get back by 5 p.m., followed by a quick shower and nap until 6 p.m. Then I'm good to go until 10 or 11 p.m. Story 5. 2 meals a day, breakfast at a reasonable time and dinner early. This schedule allows for light evening snacks and a sensible bedtime to read for about an hour. 3 full meals is usually too much. Story 6. I have always associated recliner chairs with older individuals. When I was shopping for a couch with my husband, we tested one in a playful, let's see our future way, and I have never known comfort like it. We have been fans of recliners ever since. We have an electric twin-seater with drink holders and a storage compartment for remotes. I love it. Story 7. I go to bed when my child goes to bed at 8. Then I wake up at 4 a.m. feeling refreshed after a full night's sleep. I have several uninterrupted hours to do whatever I want. Sometimes I catch up on work, sometimes I play video games, and sometimes I go for a walk. It's my time. Story 8. I am 60 years old and enjoy having dinner at 4 to 4:30 p.m. Better digestion leads to better sleep. I refer to it as late lunch or early dinner. Story 9. Dinner reservations should be made between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. It is less crowded, I do not have to drive in the dark, and I can be in bed at a normal time. Story 10. A place for everything and everything in its place. If I bring in something new, something older goes. This approach encourages thoughtful purchasing and reduces clutter. Story 11. Not caring about my appearance. I still struggle with that, especially in the culture we live in. But since I turned 50, I care much less. I will not judge my worth based on someone else's opinion, especially when they are trying to sell something. Story 12. Getting out of bed properly is important. Roll onto your side and push yourself up that way. Your back will thank you. Story 13. I arrive at the airport early for flights and do not mind waiting if the lines are short. I am 27 years old and have experienced enough close calls for one life. Story 14. Sitting in the shade and enjoying the breeze by the water, you are hidden in plain sight, and you see and hear a lot. Story 15. Paper printouts of my vacation itinerary are useful. As someone with a common name, it helps to have the confirmation number handy. Having a piece of paper with the information for my flight, hotel, and rental car means I don't need my phone. Story 16. Staying at the airport hotel before or after a poorly timed flight is a smart choice. Better sleep is a wise decision. Story 17. Slippers and a blanket for watching television with my partner. Why bother heating the entire room when you can both snuggle under a blanket with the dog? Story 18. Carrying a plastic bag full of other plastic bags is practical. You never know when you might need one, and it feels responsible to be prepared. Story 19. Going out with my husband for lunch instead of dinner allows us to avoid an overly stuffed belly before bed. We can get in our pajamas, relax at night, talk about the lovely meal, and enjoy the views or gardens at the pub or restaurant. Story 20. Driving exactly or 5 miles per hour under the speed limit and generally being a very safe and cautious driver is my habit. I adopted this practice when I was driving for a living almost 20 years ago, as my income depended on a clean driving record. This habit has persisted. Almost everyone who rides with me complains that I drive slowly. The joke is on them. I have excellent insurance rates, never get tickets, and haven't had an accident in decades. Do you know how much you have to speed and how far you have to go to save significant time? People are risking their own lives and the lives of those around them for just 3 minutes. It's foolish. Story 21. You know those grabber tools marketed to older adults so they can reach items on high shelves? They are handy at any age. I have a couple around the house. They are really useful when the dog rolls his favorite ball under the bed and sits there whining for you to get it for him. Story 22. I haven't adopted one yet, but sometimes I see elderly people going shopping or just out and about with a shopping suitcase on wheels. I understand it and I would like one someday. Mobile scooters look like fun. Story 23. Stretching routine every morning when I wake up sets the tone for the day and reduces the risk of injury. Story 24. Moving carefully. Arthritis affected me before I turned 40, and I quickly learned that moving cautiously helps reduce the pain. Story 25. Replying to people's deep worries and hurt over the current international situation as often as possible. Story 26. Keeping ibuprofen and bandages with me. You never know when you will get a paper cut or when you will bend in an awkward way. Story 27. Wearing straps on your glasses allows you to keep your reading glasses around your neck when not in use. Story 28. A cane with an additional 3-foot base helps me maintain my balance. Due to ear problems, I often feel dizzy and unstable. One time, I was proud of myself for feeling well enough to go without my cane. However, I lost my balance and fell face first onto the concrete while leaving a store, resulting in some serious injuries. Story 29. Basically, just the good ones. Early bedtime around 8 to 9 p.m. and wake up between 4 to 6 a.m. The world is pleasantly quiet at 5 a.m., allowing me to enjoy a nice glass of hot tea and relax or play my favorite video games in the winter. I garden for optimal relaxation. It's very satisfying to see hard work pay off, and gardening allows you to experience that multiple times a season. I personally adore hostas, but cherry tomatoes are my ultimate recommendation for beginner gardeners. They yield abundantly, thrive on inexpensive fertilizer, are very resilient, and can even grow in a bucket on a patio with partial sunlight. Trust me, get relaxed and grow tomatoes. Story 30. A nice board game before bed. We always did this at my grandparents' house, and I have continued this tradition with my nieces and nephews. I will do the same with my kids. They go to bed happy and calm and stay asleep longer. Story 31. Avoid Costco on weekends. Go in the mid-morning on weekdays. Say you have a doctor's appointment so you use sick time instead of vacation leave. Story 32. Recycling. I have no idea what happened, but suddenly, after turning 30, I became obsessed with ensuring I put items in the right bins. Now, I can't quite believe I never used to be bothered. Story 33. Resting my eyes. My grandma used to sit there with her eyes closed, and I would always ask if she was asleep. But I understand now, sometimes they just need a little break. Story 34. Avoiding social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I use Reddit, but it feels different here. Reddit feels like I'm with my people. All the other social media platforms feel like people just screaming at each other. Story 35. Reading before bed helps me stay away from my phone and blue light. Even a good novel puts me to sleep. My grandparents always walked after eating to aid digestion. My in-laws always wore hats and worried about sun protection. You really only get one face to protect, and I'm not here to spend thousands to remove random dark spots and thick moles in the future. I care about my overall health. Yoga to avoid aches, sinus washes to prepare for my allergies, and a humidifier at night whether or not I feel unwell. Story 36. Waking up early. I have always been an early riser, but since starting high school, it has been very convenient. I leave for school at 7:40 and wake up around 4:30. This gives me time to do homework or relax before school, and the day doesn't feel nearly as long as it did when I was waking up at 7:30. Story 37. Before standing up, repeat keywords for the things you aim to accomplish. Laundry, window, computer. After you close the window, repeat laundry and computer. It helps eliminate the feeling of arriving in a room inexplicably. Story 38. Going to bed early or at a reasonable hour is important. Last weekend, I went to bed around 9:30 p.m. on a Saturday night. It was glorious. Story 39. Patience is a wonderful virtue that most people develop as they get older, and it is a very good idea. We become more confident in ourselves and more understanding of others. Patience is a virtue, and the only virtue to be gained is through self-control. Learn it. Story 40. Sleeping in until 7 and going for breakfast at 8 a.m. on a weekend is fantastic. The waitstaff are not cranky yet, and there are only a few elderly couples with us. Story 41. Going to bed early when it feels like it's time is beneficial. Why push it and feel uncomfortable when you could slip into bed feeling pleasantly tired? Story 42. I wear comfortable clothes and I don't care what anyone thinks. Not caring what people think in general is a great habit. Story 43. Puzzles, gardening, sewing, knitting, needlepoint, baking, and comfortable clothes are some of my favorite activities. I have dinner reservations at 5 p.m. I am 36 years old and turning 78. Story 44. House slippers. Shopping early in the morning to avoid traffic and crowds. Keeping candy and snacks in my purse. Cutting off drinking water 2 hours before bed to prevent nighttime bathroom trips. And mobility exercises or stretching. Story 45. I change straight into pajamas the moment I get home. You won't catch me relaxing in the house in my street clothes. I'm either naked or in my pajamas. Story 46. Early dinner, early bedtime, and early wake-ups. Who knew I could actually feel refreshed in my 20s? I assumed the suffering was a part of life. Story 47. Commuting on public transportation means I don't listen to music or look at my phone. I just sit or stand and stare into space. Story 48. I just bought a house with a step-in bathtub featuring a seat. I'm looking forward to soaking with a book and letting the jets melt away my muscle aches. I don't care that they are marketed to older adults. I'm in my mid-40s and am very excited. Story 49. Voting can also be challenging for elected officials when constituents engage with them directly and raise concerns about issues. Story 50. Bed at 9 p.m., up at 5 a.m., dinner at 4 p.m., reading in the morning, listening to the birds singing before starting the day. Story 51. I wear a singlet under my shirt. On hot days, it absorbs sweat. On cold days, it keeps me warm. I live in Australia. In summer, I wear just a singlet, but I might put a shirt over it if I'm going somewhere. Story 52. I enjoy wearing colorful clothes and lots of jewelry. I don't worry about impressing people. Life is too short to dress only in neutral colors. Story 53. Courtesy lane changes. When I see someone approaching on the freeway, I try to make it easier for them. I don't think I ever considered this in my 20s and 30s. Story 54. Before I get out of bed, I sit on the edge for a couple of breaths. This prevents me from falling face first into the bathroom sink. My joints are starting to wear down, and my circulation takes its own time. Story 55. Avoiding night driving. I am a 41-year-old female with astigmatism and nearsightedness. Even the special coating on my glasses does not help. I can be a pretty scary driver. Story 56. I like to buy my groceries in the early morning on weekends, either Saturday when everyone is sleeping in or Sunday before the after-church rush. It's nice to get the first pick of the produce right after the shelves are stocked, and I still have my whole day afterward. Story 57. I bought a shopping trolley with 4 wheels, a boxy shape, and a small cover on top. I am in my 20s, but I do not drive, and without my trolley, I cannot purchase heavy items without waiting for a family member to give me a ride. Story 58. Comfortable shoes with good insoles. No more high heels. Keeping a handkerchief available. Mending clothing with holes. Sending greeting cards for birthdays. Story 59. I use a day-of-the-week pill case with compartments for morning and night. It helps me stay on track with taking my medication. Story 60. I live with a 91-year-old. I always have tissues and hard candy with me. I love an early dinner and regularly snack on ginger snaps. Story 61. I am a software developer. I write notes in a notebook with a fountain pen in cursive. It is strange to me how many people cannot write things down and are against cursive writing. That is how I learned in school. Story 62. Watching Sunday Morning on CBS. I deleted social media apps and did the crossword instead. I'm not yet 40, but these behaviors could be consistent with those of a 75-year-old. Story 63. The cardigan and reading glasses on a string. Sure, I'm giving off serious Mr. Rogers vibes, but the cardigan is so cozy, and my glasses are very convenient. Story 64. Older men will often undo their belt buckle and unzip their pants to retuck their shirts, regardless of their location. I do this at work because I am in a refrigerated warehouse. Sometimes my shirt becomes untucked when I stretch or reach high. Tucking my shirt helps keep the cold air from getting underneath it. I wear leggings under my jeans, so I feel the leggings when I retuck. Story 65. Not sure it's exactly an old person habit, but grocery shopping early in the morning is enjoyable. The produce selection is excellent, and it is usually not crowded. It is much better this way. Story 66. I go to bed and wake up early. Having a couple of hours to enjoy coffee and relax before work makes the day feel less daunting. Sometimes I run errands. In better times, I worked out during this time, but I still enjoy it regardless. Story 67. Driving the speed limit, using turn signals, and not driving recklessly have kept me ticket-free since I was 20. I still reach my destinations on time. I buy tires less frequently and experience fewer breakdowns. I only feel stressed while driving in bad weather, and during those times, I drive even more cautiously. Story 68. Never drive in bad weather or rush hour traffic without a compelling reason, such as needing to go to urgent care. If I have planned errands and the weather suddenly turns bad, they can wait. Some social commitments cannot be postponed or rescheduled, but I will consider whether I should proceed with them or not. Additionally, it is important to monitor the long-range forecast and shop in advance as needed. Story 69. Going to bed at 9 p.m. and waking up at 5 a.m. By 8 o'clock in the morning, I completed most of the day's tasks. Story 70. I have started to be more reserved. An older, wiser supervisor advised me to talk less. I never noticed that some people take advantage of what I considered friendly openness, which may actually be seen as oversharing. Not everyone is your friend. Some individuals have an agenda and are waiting for you to offer them something they can use. Story 71. Wake up early and go to bed early. Eat 3 meals a day, having dinner before 7 p.m. Reduce sugar and salt intake in your food as much as possible. These habits have significantly improved my life and health. Story 72. I eat earlier, and I think about doing it more often. I eat earlier because I'm so tired after work that I rest for a while. I end up eating late and going to bed feeling full. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.